Hey, what's up everyone, welcome. On today's Elden Ring video I want to show you guys my new samurai build. This is gonna be a pure dexterity samurai build that I call the Flamerite, honestly, because we're gonna be enhancing our blade with a blood flame. But not only that though, we do have other ways of enhancing our blade, and that's why I want to show you guys this build, because this build I like it for the fact that it is flexible. I would say it's more about being versatile actually, because the fact that you can enhance this blade on the build that I have right now, I can enhance it with poison, and also I can enhance it with blood flame, I can enhance it with black flame, and also with lightning. So this build has different ways of enhancing the blade, and you can go with that different type of damage against different type of enemies if you know what they are weak against, and that's why I like this build. Not only that, we're gonna be having other ways of boosting our damage, which I'll go in a second, and we're gonna have a pure dexterity build where we're gonna use the NAGAKIBA Katana, which I'll explain in a moment why I chose it. Now with this build I went to the snow area and did everything in there, anything content wise in there with this build, and I had no much of a problem, and you know, it just did just fine for me. Now if you guys know, in the snow area it is a high level area, so if you don't want to play with the rivers of blood, if you don't want to play with the Moonveil, anything that's more like almost like the meta or it's most known out there, and you want to play something else but you still want to use the katanas or a pure dexterity, this is the build that I have for you. Now this is the way I look. Actually, I do like the way I look right now. It looks badass. It's not practical though, I will explain why, but I still go with this armor set because it just looks badass. It fits the team, and you know, it just works for me. Alright, so the weapon of choice, as I said, we're gonna be using the NAGAKIBA. Now I do have mine on plus 25. The Ashes of War that I chose for this one is gonna be double slash. And this one actually is the same move set of the Rivers of Blood. If you pay attention, it's the same move set though, it's just the Rivers of Blood has more spicy special for the Rivers of Blood. Now we're gonna keep the katana though on keen, and this is because on keen this will get us our dexterity scaling to A even when you have it on plus 24. Now another option will be also the Uchigatana. They have a similar damage, but the Uchigatana will surpass the NAGAKIBA just by a little bit when it comes to the damage on the keen also Uchigatana. So this is the Uchigatana, and that's the NAGAKIBA right there. So it's almost double the size difference, right? So that's why I chose the NAGAKIBA. It's just one, it looks cool, it's badass, and two, you know, I can reach enemies the furthest. We are gonna be using a seal, sacred seal, for this build. I chose a finger seal. I have it on plus 24, and you can go on round table and buy this from the two fingers maiden in there. Now for the armor, I have the Ronin's armor, and I have for the helmet the Okima mask. I do have a guide on the channel how you can obtain this mask. I do like it for the fact that it looks like a samurai, and also it will give us a plus 3 dexterity to our build. So my build right now have 85. If I put it on, it goes to 88. And the rest of the set is the Ronin armor. Like I said, it's not practical. What I mean by that is because it doesn't have the most damage negation, and also that doesn't have the most poise. So I only have 15 poise, which is not good, and the damage negation also is not that great. So I would recommend, if you want more of a tanky or more protection, go with the Blaidd's armor, is really good, or any other armor that is heavy and gives you more protection. Blaidd's armor I know is gonna work on this build, and it's still gonna be mid-rolling just fine. In my case, I just love this armor. It looks badass, it fits the team of this build, and that's why I have it. For the talisman, this one was a hard choice, I'm not gonna lie. So I went through a lot of talismans and most of them just works, right? So that's why I keep changing to trying to decide the 4 talismans that are really good. Still, there is this last spot, it's open for whatever you want. So the best ones that I found for me, that works for me, it's the green turtle talisman. Now the reason I like this is because with the NAGAKIBA, when I use that double slash, I will run out of stamina quite fast, and I do want to get that stamina back fast so I can keep on attacking. So that's the reason why, and you know, I do like this talisman for that. The second talisman that I recommend also for this build is the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia. This one will greatly raise your power attack with successive attacks. This one is really good, but also is really hard to get, because by getting this you're gonna be all the way by the end of the game. So if you don't have this, you can go with a Winged Sword Insignia, which is a kind of like a lower version of this one right here, and it will do the same thing. It will raise your attack power by successive attacks, but it's just gonna be a little bit lower. But this one you can get it a lot earlier in the game. The third talisman, I went with the Carrion Filigree Crest, and this one I chose it actually by the end because I was using something else in here. Now this is good because we're gonna use a lot of skills to enhance our weapon and also to buff our attack. So lowering that FP consumption will be good, kind of managing that FP on our build. Now the fourth talisman, this is the one that I have no idea just yet. I keep on changing this one a few times. Right now I have the Taker's Cameo. Now the reason I use the Taker's Cameo is when I'm in the open world just fighting mobs. That way I can restore my HP upon defeating my enemies. So it is really good talisman, I like it. But if, let's say, if I go against a boss and I know I'm gonna use the Flame Blood enhancement, I use the Lord of Blood Exaltation, because this will increase my attack power if there is blood loss in the vicinity. And we can actually accumulate blood loss on the enemies with this build if you use the Blood Flame Blade enhancement. Let's say when I'm using the Electrified enhancement, obviously I'm not gonna take advantage of the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, and that's why I don't have it here at all times. So like I said, this fourth spot is where I would say choose what you want. I have the Taker's Cameo in here, but give me your opinion in the comment section below what you would choose in here. For the spells, this is a very important part of this build, and this is what makes the build versatile and the most fun for me, at least. So I have Golden Vow, and this will increase our damage and defense, and that's gonna go for about 90 seconds. Now the damage increase I think is gonna be about 15%, and also we have the Flame Grant Me Strength. This one also will raise our physical and fire affinity attack power, so that's gonna go for a little bit shorter at about 30 seconds. And then we have our blade enhancement, I call them, right? So the first one we have the Electrify Armament, second one we have the Blood Flame Blade, and the third one we have the Poison Armament. Now there is more option actually that I could go in here. Actually we can have the Black Flame Blade, which is also a good one. Now another option in here will be actually this one right here, the Frozen Armament. Now this one I will need an intelligence of 15, and I don't have the requirement. So after I start leveling up, I'm gonna get that intelligence to 15. That way I can have the Frozen Armaments. That way I can apply this to my blade and apply the Frostbite to my enemies. So going over the attributes, the vigor is gonna be 40. I do like having 40 on vigor, not more than that, because I'm comfortable with that. I know some people like more than that, so if you do, if you have more levels, go up for it. It's up to you. Mine, I have 25 because I am gonna be using a lot of enhancements and, you know, boosting my attack, so I'll go through that FP. That way I need some 25 on mine in there. Endurance is gonna be 25 also. I try to split between mine and endurance, and so I put just 25 on both. Strength, we don't need much on this build because we're gonna use Keen for the build, right? So we're gonna use skin for the weapons, the NAGAKIBA. So strength is not really important on this build, even though I have 25. I can even knock it down actually to 20 probably, and put those 5 points maybe on endurance. That's something that I thought about afterwards, right? But I have 25 right now. Dexterity, we have actually 80. That extra 3, it's coming from the mask, so just keep that in mind. And this is a pure dexterity build, right? So that's why we have 80, and 80 is the hard cap for dexterity. Intelligence, after I get to 15, I will be able to use one more different type of enhancement for my blade. So as I said, and then fate, I have it on 25 just so I can use golden vow. It's not necessary. If you want, you can knock that down to 15 and just use flame grant me strength, and you'll be just fine with that. And then arcane, I have it on 10. That way I am able to use the blood flame blade, because that's the requirement for it. I think it's 10 on arcane. So yeah guys, that's it. That's all I have for you today. This is my Flamurai build. I love this build. Is a pure dexterity that I can be versatile with different type of enhancement for my blades, and you know, it works for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoy, hit me with a like, I would appreciate. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.